Hare Krishna. Thank you for once again showing your enthusiasm by coming for the ABC sessions. I will just briefly tell you the format. So we decided that we will have, whenever we have a long session, like last time we had a detailed explanation on the concept of humble confidence. But then we decided that the next session would be question answers based on that concept. So today will be the question answers. I have already received a lot of questions regarding this concept of how we can be humble and also confident. And then the next session, whenever we have, I will be speaking on another concept of how we need to have three pillars in our lives of dharma, scriptures, and improving awareness, how that helps us develop more clarity and it helps us develop answers to all the questions we have in life. So that concept we will share next time. And then the session after that would be question answers. So like that. So today I will focus on the questions that came up last time. But before I dive into all the questions that are there in front of me, if somebody has some other questions, they can always send it to the admin and I can take it up after we complete this question that I've already received on email. So the first question that came to me was that last time we spoke on tolerance during the Japa talk and we spoke on the 5 principles of balancing humility and self-love. So one of the things that came up was, we know what is the right thing to do, but we procrastinate, we delay doing the right thing. And I remember an amazing quote of His Holiness Radhana Swami Maharaj for this. He said that the difference between devotees and non-devotees is non-devotees, they don't surrender to Krishna. Maya convinces them not to surrender to Krishna. And then Maharaj said, for devotees, Maya convinces them to postpone their surrender to Krishna. This is how we are fooled by the illusory energy of the Lord. So, and we procrastinate, we delay. So the question that we got was, how can we overcome this tendency? So the answer, my 2 pence worth understanding on this is, please spend some quiet time in a quiet space and ask, why do you procrastinate? Why do you delay things? Maybe some of us delay because we have a fear of failure or some insecurities, or maybe we have a desire to be perfect. Or maybe, sometimes when I'm overwhelmed with too many things to do, I get so stressed that I'll end up doing nothing. I delay. So these are all things why we procrastinate often. So please ask yourself, and when you ask this question, why you procrastinate, why you delay, you will see that you get answers also for this. So this is one way you can overcome procrastination. The second is visualize the consequences of delaying. What will happen? What is the price you will have to pay? What are you going to lose? What are you going to gain? So these two generally help or motivate me to do things on time, and it helps me avoid procrastination. Let us say these two doesn't help you, or this is not enough. Then you can try a third thing, which I have in the form of our Govind Prem Prabhu, which is an accountability partner. Have someone to whom you're accountable. And that also helps to avoid procrastination, because then you are accountable. You have to report to someone about what you're doing or what you're supposed to be doing. So these are the 3 things that help. And if you are not satisfied with these 3, you want some more tips on how to overcome delay, procrastination. The 4th I would suggest, which is the most practical, is which is very little stupid also. This is what I have done in the past. I tell myself that do it now, then I'll treat you in Govindas, or you'll have some fun. So sometimes some difficult things to do, I avoid procrastination by assuring myself that I'll be rewarded for doing this. Something that I like if I like a pizza, if you like a pizza, you could say, this is difficult, but I'll do it so that I can enjoy a pizza after this. So that motivates you to do things which are challenging. So like that. Then also pairing helps. Like for example, I'm supposed to go for a walk for my health. If I have to keep good health, I'm supposed to go for walking, and I like also walking. But you know how the mind can cheat you? Sometimes the mind says, "Mat jao aaj walking, just relax." Mind likes to play the lethargy card also. So sometimes I'm just like lazy. So then what I do is I do what is called as pairing. I like to hear lectures of Guru Maharaj, my Guru Maharaj, and there is a special series of lectures, 1997 Gaurila lectures, which I love to hear. So what I do, I hear those lectures, and then that helps me go for a walk. Because when I hear lectures or things which I like to hear, then 1 hour of walking is easy for me. I'm supposed to walk half an hour to 1 hour, but when I hearing lectures, then I can walk 90 to 100 minutes fast because I'm enjoying doing what I'm doing. So I'm pairing it. I don't like walking at that moment, but I like hearing. Sometimes I don't like walking also, I don't like hearing also. I like to memorize verses. So I take my verse book with me. I go for a walk. So I land up. So what I'm saying is pairing means you combine what you don't like to do with something else. Like when I'm writing my book, sometimes I have to write marathon 8 to 10 hours. It's like a corporate job, I have a deadline, the publisher is behind me. So I'm writing and I'm feeling dull. So I like to hear instrumental music, but I don't have time. Like for example, Lal Gudi Jayaraman violin, or Hari Prasad Chaurasia flute. It's a soft music, or Hare Krishna Kirtan of Janvi Harrison or Madhav Das or Radhika Das. So all this is very soothing, but I don't have time to sit and just listen to Kirtan. So what I do when I'm writing my book, I play that in the background. So that is a temptation for me. Okay, now I can hear music. So I can, and like soft music in the background, and it helps me write better. So what I'm saying here is pairing. Pairing helps to break lethargy. So I don't know what so many 5 or 6 points I've said regarding this. First was fear, ask why you are delaying. Second, visualize the consequences of delaying. Third, I have accountability partner, somebody who can help you, who you're accountable to. Fourth, promise yourself some reward for doing what is delaying you. Fifth is pairing it. Pair what you like, what you are feeling lazy to do with what you like to do. So pairing also helps. If these 5 tips don't help you in overcoming procrastination, then I cannot help you. You will have to you ask Google Baba. He will give you more. He will give you more tips. So this is one first question. So the second question I got was regarding. Okay, this is little. I'll try to put it in simple words. Chanting is the most important, and chanting removes all sins. After coming to Krishna consciousness, there are no sins. But now there is aparadhs, Nam aparadh, Vaishnava aparadh. So many questions is. So my question is how to know that I have done any aparadh or not, and how to solve if there is any aparadh, offenses. And this is also a common question. Many devotees feel offenses is what we have heard so much about the seriousness of offenses and how dangerous it is. So regarding offenses or aparadh, okay, I'll give a definition of aparadh. See if this makes sense. Then you will know how to overcome aparadh. So I heard this long ago. This is, I think, 2002 or 2003 lecture of His Holiness Srila Bhaktivigyan Goswami Maharaj, where he analyzed Jiva Goswami's Bhakti Sandarbha, and from Bhakti Sandarbhas he explained the consequences of aparadh and everything. But one thing that struck me in that class was the definition of aparadh. So otherwise, devotees get obsessed with aparadh. They think I'm committing offense. No, you don't have to get obsessed or fearful. Understand the definition. Aparadh means an attitude of neglect or arrogance towards vehicles of spiritual energy in this material world. This is the most succinct definition I have got about aparadh. I'll repeat it and we will decode it. Aparadh is an attitude of neglect or arrogance towards vehicles of spiritual energy in this material world. So we know what is an attitude of neglect and arrogance. That we know. Vehicle means something that helps us carry to spiritual realm. Vehicles of spiritual energy means, okay, what are the vehicles of spiritual energy in this world, in this material world? What are the things that help us connect to Krishna, to the spiritual world? We have deities. That's a vehicle, right? It takes us from material world to spiritual world. We have holy names. We have Bhagavatam. What else? We have dhams. We have Charanamrit we take. So when we have an attitude, or devotees are also vehicle. They take us from material world to spiritual world. So these are all vehicles of spiritual energy in material world. In this material world, there are many vehicles, that books. Thank you for this answer. Spiritual books like Bhagavatam is a vehicle which takes us to Krishna. So when there is an attitude of arrogance or neglect towards the vehicles of spiritual energy in this material world, that is an aparadha. Right? So these are all holy names also, for example. Yes, thank you for all of you for contributing in the chat. So we may have a sincere desire to love Krishna. We all may have. But if we have an attitude of neglect or arrogance towards these vehicles, then we are committing aparadha. And then what happens because of this aparadha mentality, this attitude, we develop viparyaya buddhi. We develop an opposite mentality. We start acting contrary to our noble desire. So I may have a desire to love Krishna, but I'll end up acting in an opposite way. So therefore, this is aparadha. And the question that was asked to me was, how do I know that I've done any aparadha? So I've given you the definition of aparadha, so you can know whether you're committing aparadha. And how to avoid, how to solve if there is any aparadha. So my humble request is, if you realize you have done some aparadha, then Bhaktivinoda Thakur gives solution for maximum aparadha. He gives the solution. He gives many solutions, like Ekadashi, fasting, begging forgiveness, and all of that. But one solution is common for all the different aparadhas. He says, sincerely repenting. Sincere repentance is the main solution Bhaktivinoda Thakur gives. And one important clarification I want to make on aparadha. Many devotees, sometimes I see that they are bogged down because of offenses. Like one devotee said, I'm not coming to temple because when I come to temple, I judge devotees in the mind and I commit offenses. So I want to avoid offenses, Prabhuji. So to avoid offenses, he stopped associating with devotees. That's crazy. That doesn't make sense. So my humble request is, offenses, how to treat offenses. Instead of getting obsessed with offenses, treat offenses like a signpost on a hilly road. If you're driving on a mountainous region or you're driving through difficult routes, terrain, there will be a lot of road signs saying that dangerous curve ahead, slow down. School ahead, slow down. Also, you'll see in all these difficult paths, there will always be road signs. So offenses are like, they are like the road signs. So when you're driving in Krishna consciousness, chanting, Bhagavatam class, associating with devotees is like going on a difficult road. And when we read about offenses, we are supposed to look at them like we see the road sign. When you see a road sign which says dangerous curve ahead, what do? Do you stop your car and say, oh, there is a dangerous curve ahead, I cannot go ahead, oh, it is so dangerous, let me stop my car, oh, alas, what a dangerous curve. Do you do that? No. Or the other extreme is, I don't care for these road signs, let me drive fast because I want to reach my destination or back to God, and in this lifetime I want to drive fast. No, only a foolish person will be reckless and ignore the road signs, and an equally foolish or stupid person would sit down and lament at the dangerous road and the danger of the signs, and then therefore not drive. So the solution is quietly and carefully drive, continue driving, keep looking at the road signs, but don't get obsessed. Slow down and be cautious. Cautiously drive ahead. So this is the way we deal with the offenses that are mentioned in the scriptures. Devotees have to be mature and go forward. This is the second question. So third question I've got is, okay, now this is also long. I'll just briefly summarize the question. Meanwhile, Shivam Prabhu, I'm expecting that if there are more questions that come up today, because today is a question answer day regarding the last session, you can keep them on car park. We can take it up after we've completed this.
Yes, Prabhuji, noted.
So the third question I got is, I'm preparing for UPSC exams, competitive exams, but I'm unable to follow the constant routine. Like when I'm focused on study for my exams, I miss my spiritual practice like reading Bhagavatam. And when I read Bhagavatam and do spiritual practice, then I find out that I have not studied well this week. That means when I'm serious about my exam studies, then I'm doing good, then I'm not focused in my spiritual practice. I do chant my rounds, but I miss reading Bhagavatam and listening to lectures. How to balance this and how to maintain discipline. This is also a common question about from those devotees who have many duties and responsibilities. So my humble request is devotees who are struggling in their grahastha life, with their job, with their children, with their studies, with their different things balancing. I request you keep minimum quota of say 10 minutes, 5 minutes, 15 minutes. It is better that you feel that you want to read more of scriptures, but you don't have time because of your studies or responsibilities. So it is better to have that hankering. Oh, I wish I could study more, but what to do? I have this responsibility. So that way, when your studies are over or when you get some free time, you will come back to those scriptures. But if you neglect your responsibilities and say, okay, no, I'll just study 3 hours of scriptures today, then you may feel guilty later on when you don't do well in your studies, or you may blame Krishna for not getting what you wanted to get in material world. So therefore, instead of blaming Krishna later, better to make a smaller commitment to Krishna. So you have 2 choices. Blame Krishna later for not getting what you want, or make a small commitment to Krishna. Don't make a big promise to Krishna and then suffer. So keep some small regulation. Is that okay? I don't know. This is okay. I'll tell you an example of one of my very dear friends in our congregation. He's a counselor, very senior devotee. He told me privately, Prabhuji, we say that you should make Krishna the center of your life. Everybody says that, but I have also internally, I want to make Krishna the center of my life, but practically I have not made Krishna the center of my life. I have made Krishna one part of my life. So my life is like a circle. In the center, there is supposed to be Krishna. I want Krishna to be in the center, but what I have done is I have made Krishna one part of that circle, which means in that circle, there are many dots. One is for health, one is for career, one is for my family, one is for my children, one is like many. So one of the circles, one of the dots in that circle is Krishna. So when I'm with the health circle, then I focus on my health and I tell Krishna, Krishna, now you are, please, I'm ignoring you right now, but I'm focusing on my health so that I can come back to you later. So when I'm with Krishna, I tell my wife, I'm going to temple now, I'm going to chant my rounds, so don't expect me to receive your calls. So when I'm with Krishna, I'm with Krishna. When I'm with my business, I'm doing my business. When I'm going on a vacation with my family, so I'm telling Krishna, Krishna, next 1 week I'm on a vacation. Hare Krishna. So he says, I have made Krishna the center of my life, but I have given everything a place. And I trust Krishna that Krishna will one day come into the center of that circle. So the point I'm making is, don't overwhelm yourself with bhakti so much that you later on regret because you are feeling that you are not able to balance. Our community is awareness, balance, and connection. See, if I say, no, just chant and read Bhagavatam every day, half an hour, even if I have exams, then I am violating the principle of balance. I prefer you don't blame Krishna and make small commitment to Krishna. It is better to make a small commitment and sustain it every day rather than do something huge now and later on feel guilty and blame Krishna. So this is my answer to your question. Hare Krishna. There is one more question I want to share. This is also a very long question. It's like an essay. I'm going to just brief. There's a long email I got. This is like 500 words essay. Okay, I'll break this into many questions, very interesting questions. But one is, when I'm hearing Bhagavatam class, I choose not to hear Bhagavatam when I don't know a particular speaker, or I don't like a particular speaker, or I just can't grasp what the person is saying. So what do I do? So I think I answered that question in the Japa talk. So you have some commitment or some discipline. You don't have to hear everyone. It is natural. But you can't just be whimsical. Just because you have to be natural doesn't mean you become whimsical. You understand your limitations, make some system and follow that system. Show some discipline. It can be some other speakers you like, but hear regularly. That is the answer. And there's another question is regarding Sakshi Bhav. I don't know if you remember last time I spoke about Sakshi Bhav, witness consciousness, separating yourself from your mind. Now, please understand there are three. This ABC community is not something whimsical. It is founded on very deep points. This awareness of ABC community is founded on the principle of Sakshi Bhav. The balance which I speak about, or which we are going to discuss in detail in our next session, it is founded on the principle of dharma. We will discuss this from Mahabharata's Ashwamedhika Parva. We will discuss this in greater detail in our next class. It is Krishna's instructions to Yudhishthir Maharaj from the Shanti Parva of Mahabharata, where the balance principle is mentioned through dharma principles. So awareness is based on the foundation of Sakshi Bhav, balance is based on dharma, and connection, which is part of ABC, that is founded on the principle of scripture. That's why in every class you will hear me speak from scriptures or importance of scriptures or hearing Bhagavatam class. So how these three work, how ABC is practical, how internalizing ABC principles will help us lead an effective life will be the theme of our next class. But right now the question on Sakshi Bhav is that when I'm chanting, my mind is tired. Sometimes I chant, sometimes I ignore and I sleep. So it's a daily struggle. Will the mind ever get controlled? Will the mind remain quiet, or will this struggle continue always? So my answer to your question, Prabhu or Mataji, whoever has written this question, is that your struggle will continue always. But please spend some time noticing the mind. Like for example, this question you asked, before writing this question, you could have sat down and you could have said, now I have a desire to control the mind. Now this mind is asking me this question, how to control the mind. See, whenever you observe without emotion, that is awareness. Whenever there is observation minus emotion, that is awareness. So I'm not saying whole day you do be like that, but at least some time. Like for example, recently I was driving from North Mumbai, 1 hour drive to temple. So I was looking out of the car window and I put an alarm on my phone for 15 minutes. And I decided to practice 15 minutes of Sakshi Bhav, which means I was just observing without judgment. 15 minutes. So I saw some children running. I said, these children are running from school to home. I said, again, I had to correct myself. I don't know they are going from school to home. That is a judgment. But then I come back. And then whenever I'm judging to myself too much, then again I'm coming back. See, you have to go one step back. Just observe without judging. And if your mind has wandered too much, don't beat yourself. It's not a failure. Then again come back. Now I am back. My mind has wandered to many places. Now back. So the more you are present, the more you are mindful, you are aware. So this is the way. So you may not be able to control your mind whole life. The mind will wander, which is okay, which is healthy. But when we spend more time practicing awareness, we become peaceful even though we are not able to win this struggle. So the goal of our ABC community is not to become great mind controllers, but to become peaceful and comfortable in our own skin, to accept who we are, to be humble in front of Krishna. We are not yogis, we are bhakti yogis. Yogis want to control their mind. We don't want to control the mind. We want to offer our mind to Krishna. Krishna is the one who will control our mind. Gopinath, Tumi Rishikesha, Rishika Damiya. Krishna controls the mind. So we want to control the mind. We want to be strong. But at the end of the day, we want to surrender. So we are not like mind control freaks. So please know that. So that is the answer to this question. The next question is, I mentioned in the last class that there are many layers that get removed when we practice Sakshi Bhav. And eventually the last layer that gets removed is we understand I'm jealous of Krishna. I'm unable to understand this, one person is saying. And connected to this question is another question where, again, the devotee is saying there are 3 layers. I could connect with the first 2 layers, but the third layer about hating Krishna, about being envious of Krishna is very strong. I'm still not on the level of loving Krishna, but that doesn't mean I hate Krishna. Kindly explain the third layer. Now, I don't want to go back to 3 weeks ago when I spoke on these 3 layers, but the essence was that when we practice Sakshi Bhav, we develop what is called as self-irony, which means we develop an attitude of ability to laugh at ourselves. Like we don't take ourselves seriously when we practice Sakshi Bhav. Right now, we take ourselves very seriously. Every problem that I have is very big. My life is so serious. Me and mine are very important. Self-irony means ability to laugh at my stupidity. Like one devotee was walking, he slipped and he fell. It was a little clumsy and embarrassing. But he got up and said, "Arey, I'm just checking if the law of gravity is still working or not." So very jokingly he made that statement. So everybody laughed. So he's laughing at his own stupidity. One devotee was making a presentation in our management meeting, and the whole PPT was going haywire. It was all mess. So then in the end, it's very funny. It was clumsy. So he's saying, "Prabhuji, I'm teaching all of you how to give a TED talk on how not to give a TED talk." So like that, he laughed at himself. So the ability to laugh at ourselves, many devotees, we don't know how to laugh at ourselves. We take ourselves very seriously. And because we take ourselves very seriously, we get offended also very fast. we take ourselves too seriously. How could he look at me like this? How could he speak like that to me? Arey, come on, yaar, we are nobody. And that self-irony comes when we practice Sakshi Bhav. So what happens when we practice more awareness, more mindfulness, then we separate ourselves from our mind. Then slowly we realize, when the mind is saying, "Get up and go and eat this cake." Actually, the mind is not saying, "Go and eat this cake." You see the thing behind that. Behind that is mind wants enjoyment. So you realize the mind is not simply asking for cake or pizza. Mind is asking for enjoyment. And then the more you become aware, the more you practice Sakshi Bhav, then you realize, mind is also not looking for enjoyment. Mind is actually living in fear, insecurity. There is some approval-seeking behavior. There is some control. There is some insecurity. You touch that, you become aware of the things that drive your behavior. And at a deeper level, when we still continue to practice Sakshi Bhav, we reach a stage where we understand how we have gone far away from Krishna. Srila Prabhupada says in so many places, we are envious of Krishna. So what I said is not any different from what Prabhupada said. Prabhupada says, no, we are envious of Krishna. We wanted to be the enjoyer. So we know this theoretically, but if we practice Sakshi Bhav, we realize that I'm envious of Krishna. But the best part is when we realize I'm envious of Krishna, when we realize I hate Krishna consciousness, I don't like Krishna, then actually become peaceful because I am practicing Sakshi Bhav. If you're not able to understand, that means you have not practiced. So it's simple. Just like, when we study basic arithmetics, 2 + 3 is 5, then we study trigonometry, calculus. So don't worry. You start practicing awareness, you start practicing Sakshi Bhav, you start slowly peeling off layers. It's not an endeavor. It is not your endeavor that will give you the result. It is received. So as you start practicing Sakshi Bhav, these layers will get peeled off. And you will come face to face with this painful reality of how you are far away from Krishna. But in that reality, you will feel loved by Krishna. Because at the end of the day, you are the soul. And the layers are removed means the chitta is clean. Your consciousness is clean. So in that clean state, you will be able to experience Krishna's embrace. This is the paradox of bhakti. That is how Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, all the great devotees in our parampara, they feel they are fallen also. And they feel very happy also. When we feel fallen, we become depressed. And when we are happy, we become arrogant and proud. So devotees, when we are not advanced, happiness is dangerous for us because we start jumping around and we start offending others. And when we are sad, we start getting into depression. But bhakti advancement is when we can feel extremely fallen and also feel very happy. So that cannot be artificially attained. That state is attained when we first start coming to the level of soul. That is mind, intelligence, controlled life. We release ourselves from that and situate ourselves in the level of the soul. And then from that level, we can rise to the relationship with Super Soul, with Krishna, where we cry, we laugh. All that will happen later. But first, we have to become aware that I'm entangled with the mind, intelligence, and ego, and we need to separate ourselves from that. So this is the answer to your question. The next question I have is, I have difficulty developing self-love because last class was on humility and self-love, because I always feel I've not done enough for my family, or I've not done enough in my sadhana. I'm not in depression, but I don't feel very good about myself. Kindly guide me on this. Now, this is going to be intense. Self-love. If you see, self-love is a strong word for devotees. Devotees don't like this word, so forget self-love. What I mean is being happy where you are, being in a state of enough. Okay, I know I'm not pure, I'm not perfect, but theek hai yaar, I'm okay. See, our problem is we never live in the space of enough. We always feel there is something that I don't have, which is true. We need to look at the gaps, we need to make advancement. But at least sometime, someday, you need to be in a state where, okay, whatever I have is enough. I am enough. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Avashishyate. Srila Prabhupada has written a detailed commentary on this verse from the Ishopanishad. We are complete. Krishna is complete. Every emanation from Krishna is also complete in itself. So we are enough. So when you see, unfortunately, many devotees, as soon as they get up in the morning, first thing, oh, I didn't get enough rest. We start our not enough problem starts from getting up in the morning. Oh, I didn't have enough. I'm not earning enough. I'm not doing enough in my relationship. So everything, basically, the gap. We only look at what I have not attained or what I don't have. So, and because of that, look at how the psychology, how the mind tricks us. Because we are not enough, we start feeling defective. I am defective. I am flawed. I am not good. And because I am flawed, I am defective. What happens then? Oh, I am defective, so I don't deserve to be loved. I don't deserve to belong. I don't deserve to be connected because I'm defective, because I'm not enough. And because I'm not enough, I'm defective. I don't deserve to be loved. And this is an extremely painful feeling of being defective is an extremely painful feeling. So then what we do? We think, okay, if I become perfect, if I control the mind, if I become great, then I will be able to become enough. So basically the root problem is shame. We are ashamed. We live in shame. Shame is an intensely painful feeling of being flawed. And because of this, I don't deserve to belong. I don't deserve love. Everyone wants to be loved. Everyone wants to belong. Everyone wants to feel connected. And because of shame, we don't feel that. And this shame is this intensely painful feeling which keeps coming up because we think I'm not enough, I'm not good. So therefore, devotees, please, please don't beat yourself all the time. You are beautiful. You are wonderful. You are dear to Krishna. Don't become arrogant. We're not saying become proud. It's just that, see, if you are defective, then Krishna is defective. Your defect, gaps are at the mind, intelligence, ego level. As a soul, you are beautiful. So we need to remember that. Then you will see, you can't overcome shame because to be shame is a social concept. And because we live in a society, shame will be naturally there, which is okay. But shame, we need to become resilient. We need to become strong in facing that. And we need to focus on our worth of belonging to Krishna. So this is the solution. So if you are not feeling self-love, if you're feeling too bad about yourself, it is somewhere coming from shame. You are somewhere feeling that you are not enough. So you need to focus on how you are wonderful, you are worthy, And if still this doesn't help, my humble request is seek some professional help and go to some professional who can teach you. There are many books on self-compassion. Our devotees need to be compassionate and kind to themselves and to others. So please start looking at the gains, not simply the gaps in your life. This is my humble answer to your question. Next question is on the mood of wanting to chant all the time. I don't have the mood to chant all the time because I spoke in my last class, for those of you remember, that we need to cultivate the mood of wanting to chant. And I had said that ability to chant doesn't come from the mouth, it comes from the heart. So this person is asking a question that in Grihastha Ashram, I have many duties. So I just do everything as a duty, all my chanting, hearing. So, okay, my answer to your question is don't chant more than what you are supposed to do as a duty because your heart is not there. Fine. Don't read more than 15 minutes if that is your maximum ability because you have so many duties. No problem. But my request is please, please, please ask yourself, where is your heart? Is there anything in bhakti that you really like? Is there anything in bhakti that really attracts your heart? It could be Madhav Das's Kirtan. It could be taking darshan of your beautiful favorite deities. Radha Gopinath, Radha Ras Bihari, Radha Gokulanand, so many deities in ISKCON. Where is your heart? What do you like to do? I know one devotee, I won't take his name. He spends 1 to 2 hours just looking at deities. That is what nourishes him. So, if there is something that you love to do in bhakti, please do that. Okay, I don't know. Please understand this. The question was, how can I develop a desire to chant all the time? I'm saying forget that desire. Don't have the desire to chant all the time. First, ask yourself, is there something that you like to do in bhakti? Then do that more often. Let that be your vehicle to connect with Krishna. Please understand, I'm giving you an out-of-the-box solution. This is very, very important. Okay, just like you love someone in your relationship. See, you do certain things in a relationship out of duty. You do because I have to do this. But in a relationship, you also do things that you love to do. Like you will offer your beloved what the beloved wants, but you'll also offer the beloved what you want. Similarly, in a relationship with Krishna, you chant your 16 rounds as a duty. You hear Bhagavatam class as a duty. You don't like it, no problem. Do it as a duty. But there should be something that you like. कुछ तो होगा ना जो आपको भक्ति में आनंद देता है. So, there is nothing, then everything is a duty. Then make Krishna as one part. That's how you will be able to enter the heart space. So that is the answer to your question. Now, last 1 or 2 questions are remaining in my email. One, this is a long question again, but again, I'll briefly summarize it. It's regarding Sakshi Bhav. So this person is asking example from day-to-day life, and the end of the thing is, this person wants to know whether this is the right way for witness consciousness, or is this the category of introspection? So this person wants to know what is the difference between introspection and Sakshi Bhav. So now my answer to his question is, when you become aware that you are introspecting, or when you become aware that your mind is asking a question whether this is introspection or Sakshi Bhav, that space is Sakshi Bhav. When you go one step back, when you notice that you are confused and not sure whether you're understanding something, that is Sakshi Bhav, basically going backwards. So you are trying to understand, it is good, you should try to understand. But because when you're trying to understand, you're trying to fill a gap. Great. You want an answer. Great. But when you notice that you're trying to understand and you're peaceful, you're not trying to understand, but you are noticing that you're trying to understand and you're not desperate to get the answer, you're just observing your mind, what your mind is saying, that is Sakshi Bhav. So these are some of the questions that I hope I have answered. If there are more questions, Shivam Prabhu, you can ask them, or I can give is there some more questions, Shivam Prabhu, on your chat?
I have 1, 2, 3, 4 questions.
Okay.
Questions.
Okay.
So let me know what should I do. If you are okay, or
I can't hear you, Prabhu.
Can you hear me, Prabhuji?
Yeah, now I can hear.
Yeah. Prabhuji, so there are around 4 questions
Okay,
that's there in
start.
my list.
Shoot, yeah.
Okay, so one of them is on the tolerance, Prabhuji. I'm just putting on chat, so it's easy for
Okay.
everyone can read.
Yes, I can read. How to be tolerant in provoking situation, especially when you are misunderstood and the person is not even willing to listen to the clarification. Hare Krishna. This is a very, very difficult period, difficult situation, and without knowing the context, it is difficult to answer this. But when you're in a provoking situation, please look for options to communicate. Generally, tolerance doesn't mean keeping quiet. Tolerance means resisting the urge to act in ways that are detrimental to the relationship or overall well being. You cannot say there is a fire in the house, I will tolerate the fire. That is not tolerance. You know, so tolerance is not if somebody is abusing you, somebody is unreasonable, and you are saying I will tolerate. That is not tolerate, that is weakness. It's a provoking situation, and the person is not willing to listen to you, and you are trying to explain, and you are feeling that they are basically, sometimes they do gaslighting or they emotionally blackmail, and you are saying I'll tolerate. That tolerance is simply your inability to do the right thing. So therefore, at such times, I request you to practice the principles of non-violent communication. Seek first to understand, and then seek to be understood. But if there is no possibility, seek third-party intervention. Get someone else's help in communicating to the other person. If nothing is available, if nothing is possible, then extricate yourself from that situation. Get out of that situation and become peaceful. So save your soul, become peaceful. So that is tolerance. But tolerance is not the act of torturing yourself. Tolerance means in a very healthy way, doing things that are not detrimental to the relationship and also keeps your sanity and also is ethical in alignment with the Dharma principles. Hare Krishna.
Okay, so next question I'm putting on chat. So, yeah.
My question is, I have a fear that some mishaps will happen in my life as this world is filled with uncertainty. Sometimes that fear will prevent me to surrender to Krishna. If I surrender, Maya will put me in mishap or terrible suffering. How to overcome that fear? This is a classic situation where many devotees suffer. This is called, the exact psychological term for this, I don't know. I don't remember now. Maybe some of your psychologists here will know. This is called as foreboding joy. Means, foreboding means fear of some tragedy that will happen. That is foreboding. एक डर कि आगे कुछ होने वाला है. So you are joyful right now. You are peaceful. But that peace is foreboding joy. मतलब it is fear that it will be taken away. Like I have a friend, he became a father, and he says, Prabhuji, I was so happy to see my baby. I would take my baby and I would look at my baby and suddenly I would be afraid. What if the baby dies? What if something falls on the head of the child? So suddenly I'm in a very happy situation, but I'm living in a lot of fear. So, like we are planning a vacation. We'll go for a vacation. We'll be happy. So you're happy at the whole excitement you're going. And suddenly what if you meet with an accident? What if I break my leg? So many devotees, or not devotees, everybody in this world, this is normal, this is part of the psychology. This is called foreboding joy. So we are joyful sometimes, we are peaceful, suddenly we get gripped by fear. And so therefore, that's why again I said awareness is very important to understand that, acha, this is what is happening to me. So then you need to release it, you need to breathe, you need to pause, and you need to laugh at it. ठीक है यार, मेरा mind ऐसा बोल रहा है. This is not reality. This is common to everyone, and this is also coming from a space of shame. We are like always fearful that I'm not good, I'm not happy, I don't deserve to be happy, and because of that inherent lack of inherent dislike, we always think, मेरे साथ बुरा ही होगा, I don't deserve to be happy. So it's okay to have this because it is natural. But many devotees, this is one of the armors we put on. This is one of the ways we protect ourselves from surrendering to Krishna. See, to surrender to Krishna, we have to be vulnerable. We should be open to uncertainty, risk, emotional exposure. I am like this, but we are afraid to be vulnerable. So we put on a armor, अपने आप को बचाने के लिए. And one of the armors we put is foreboding joy. When you are joyful also, we immediately want to be fearful. Because, see, what happens? Okay, surrender is later. Before surrender, we have to be vulnerable. Which means, okay, let us define what is vulnerable. Or authenticity. What is actually vulnerable? You are vulnerable when you are opening yourself to uncertainty, risk, or emotional exposure. Can you have a beautiful relationship, deep relationship with any human being without that human being knowing some weakness about you by which that person could potentially exploit you? I will repeat. You cannot have an intimate, deep relationship with another person without that person knowing something about you by which he could destroy you. He will not destroy you. But you cannot have a deep relationship unless you become vulnerable, unless you share something about yourself. Only then you get love. Only when you are open, because that person may not love you. But you cannot know whether that person will love you or not. So you have to be, at some point of time, you have to be vulnerable. So what happens to many of us? We are scared of being vulnerable. So we are scared. So therefore we don't open our hearts. And therefore we don't get love also. Love is a risk. Imagine getting up in the morning with your partner on your next to you, and you have loved this person so much, but you don't know that person could cheat you. But without trusting, without that vulnerability, you cannot have a relationship. You cannot tick all the boxes. You cannot have 100 things to check and everything, and then I will have a relationship. Without uncertainty, without risk, without that vulnerability, you cannot have a deep relationship. This is not a world of certainty. So even Krishna consciousness, when we come to Krishna, there is some uncertainty. There is some risk. But we come to Hare Krishna lecture, everybody is giving a pep talk. Jai, Hari Bol, everything is assured. Hari Bol, Hari Bol. But somewhere Krishna will test you. Are you ready to accept the uncertainty of bhakti? Krishna loves to play hide and seek. Krishna may not come in front of you. And we are always, so we need to surrender. Surrender means first being vulnerable. In a relationship, we need to just, yes, I have this weakness. I have this uncertainty. I'm taking this risk. I could be harmed. That is vulnerable. Vulnerability means, it's like being naked when everybody around you is fully clothed. It's a very difficult situation. But we don't want to be vulnerable. So therefore, what we do? We put on an armor. We put on mask. We don't present our real selves. And even if it is suffocating, when you put a mask during COVID, everybody was putting mask. That mask is suffocating. But look at this. We put on this mask. We feel safe, although it is suffocating. That is the paradox of a mask. Or you put an armor. Warriors put before going for war. All that chest mein, idhar udhar sab helmet. And that will be very heavy. It's exhausting, but they feel strong. Are you understanding the irony of this? You put on armor, you feel I'm very strong. I put on this armor. No arrow can pierce me. I'm very strong. But it is exhausting you because it is heavy. We have Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj's armor here in Prince of Wales Museum. 5 people have to carry it. It is so heavy. Imagine Shivaji Maharaj is to wear it and fight. So we are also we think we are like Shivaji Maharaj. We have put on big armor. And every day, morning to night, we are fighting so many battles with so many people, with ourselves also. and we have put on this armor and mask also. So nobody knows who we really are. In fact, that mask, that armor has got stuck in the body so much that it has become me, that I don't know who I am. Even I don't know that mask has become so it has seamlessly become me that forget the world doesn't know me. I also don't know myself. That is how we have become so far away from being vulnerable. We have become so artificial. Okay, I'll ask you a very, very sincere question. You give me an honest answer. When you see other person, if the other person is honest and vulnerable, don't you get attracted to that person? In a relationship, you look for vulnerability in the other person first thing. But with yourself, that is the last thing you will allow others to see in you. Vulnerability is something which is we look for in others, but we will never allow others to see it in us. And you may say, does that mean I have to be vulnerable with everyone? No, again, don't jump into extreme. Don't go to that. We are not talking about that. There is something called oversharing, telling everything about yourself to the other person and making him miserable. And we're not talking about going around telling the whole world what your problems are. You're meeting someone for the first time. Hare Krishna, nice meeting you. Let me tell you all my dark secrets. That is not the meaning of vulnerability. Vulnerability matlab, understand the principle. The principle is we are holding on. We are putting on armor. We are putting on mask. So if this is our mood, then we cannot access love. And one of the armors we put is foreboding joy. That is the answer to this question. Which means when we become happy, instead of celebrating that joy, we become scared. What if it gets destroyed? What if Maya Devi will finish me? What if this will happen? What will that will happen? In that moment of peace and joy, instead of celebrating with gratitude, we live in misery. Because that is an armor. That is the way we want to protect ourselves. We don't want to experience the joy of bhakti. I don't know if I'm getting too technical, but I'm speaking from my heart. This is very, very important for devotees to let go. So therefore, in this world, I understand you cannot reveal your heart and be vulnerable with everyone. At least write journals. Yesterday I was in Juhu, Radha Rajbari temple with a group of young boys and girls. I was telling them, Prabhupada wrote in that Jalduta diary. Nobody saw that diary. It was kept in his box for many years. He writes that diary that I am having this difficulty. I'm missing Bharat Bhumi. I'm feeling alone. But I have revealed my mind to my friend and companion Krishna. Prabhupada is writing there that he revealed his mind and heart to his friend and companion Krishna. So can you reveal your mind and heart to Krishna through the journal, through writing? So be vulnerable, expose yourself, explain your confusions. I had once had a serious confusion about some philosophy, and I realized that if I tell someone, they'll get bewildered. And they will think, Prabhuji, after 26 years, you are not so strong in philosophy. So I went to two devotees. I made them sit in front of me. I folded my palms. I said, Prabhu, I'm being vulnerable. Don't judge me. And then I cried. I said, this is a serious doubt I have. And then they answered me. They didn't judge me. I felt such a big 100 kg weight was taken off from my head. We need people who will not judge us. Look for relationships. You can tell them that I made this mistake and still they will love you. We need such people. If you don't have such people, you be that person for others. Stop judging others. So this is my request. And so coming back to this question, this Mataji, whoever asked this question, I am sorry, I assumed it is a Mataji. Because this kind of question generally I hear from Matajis. That khush hai, fir bhi dukhi hai, fear hai. So this is, there is something called as happiness and there is something called as joy. No, this is a very, very subtle point. Happiness matlab, India won the match, so I am happy. Something happens to you, you become happy. But joy is, whatever is happening, you are peaceful. Like when I read journals, when I express gratitude, even if I'm going through some misunderstanding, but that gratitude, Mangalarati in the temple, chanting japa, this gives you joy. So devotees, many times, and joy is experienced suddenly. Like you get that feeling, you get that shelter. Joy basically shelter. But in that space, instead of being grateful and happy and joyful and peaceful, we suddenly become fearful. No. What if this is taken away? What if I die? What if I what if I fall down? What if I do this? Arey, this is a typical armor, because we have never become vulnerable. We have we've never experienced the joy of being naked. We've never experienced the joy of being in a situation where we are inside outside same, because we not experience that joy. We've always put on armor. Therefore, we become fearful when we are happy. I don't know if this is too technical, but I tried my best to simplify it as much as possible. This is many devotees are suffering from this. So I request you to let go the armor, be vulnerable, and overcome this foreboding joy. This is an armor. This is one of the shield, that one of the masks we put. Hare Krishna.
Next is the question related to the last topic of I don't know. Just trying.
If I openly admit I don't know something, can people, non-devotees and devotees, exploit me? Well, this is interesting. We don't want to say I don't know because we want to be diplomatic. If I pretend I know, I will not be exploited. Okay, if you pretend you know something, you may not be exploited, but you will be disrespected. People will respect you more when you say I don't know than when you pretend you know. Hare Krishna. I have seen that when I say I don't know, I feel big relief. But if I don't know and I say I don't know, I feel big relief. Hare Krishna.
Yes, Ji, another one. There were a few more that came in, but it's we'll see how much we can cover. We don't have to rush. So I'll just post the next one. Hare Krishna Prabhuji, there is swing in mood in the seriousness. Seriousness is there for 2 to 3 days. Then again, I become complacent. How to maintain this seriousness?
I don't know, because same thing happens with me also. We become. It's like one day there is rainy season, one day there is summer. It keeps going. It's a wave. So what we do is, there are some basic things we do every day. So if you maintain that, like, you get up in the morning, you brush your teeth, you cook your food, whatever. There are some basic duties you do every day. Similarly, there are some basic spiritual duties we need to do every day. Sometimes we will be serious, sometimes we'll be complacent, but that activity should go on. Like 16 rounds is going on for me every day, last so many years. Sometimes when I'm chanting, there is seriousness in that japa. Sometimes it is mechanical. But overall, it is going on. So that is there. Then say I spoke in today's japa talk also, that seriousness is part of a culture. Again, don't look for quick fix. Don't think that if I do something, then I will become serious. No, it will overall, it will come. You don't look for having a very organized spiritual life, which is perfect. Every day you are serious, every day you are focused, every day you are happy. It doesn't happen like that. Life is a complete package with various emotions, various emotional states. See, emotional makeup is very nuanced. It is not gross. It is not black and white. So chill, relax, have some basic commitment, and do it every day. Hare Krishna.